How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. You guys will leave in a couple of weeks at the end of May for France. And so at this point in time, is it butterflies, anticipation, excitement, nerves? What is it?
Yeah, it's all that combined, actually. But I think this World Cup is going to be really interesting because a lot of us are going to our first World Cup ever. You know, I think 4 years ago, there was a lot of experience. There were so many players that played in 2, 3 World Cups at that time. So it's going to be a lot of people's first. And I think, you know, there's obviously going to be nerves. You know, people have never been in this position before, but mostly excitement.
I know that winning the World Cup is a special thing, but holding a life-size chocolate football is also a very exciting thing. We have this in studio from another bit that we did, so you can hold that just to get ready for what it might feel like to hoist the World Cup.
Awesome.
4 years ago, you're right, there were so many kind of legends on that team. It was kind of the end of an era in some ways.
Yes.
And so you had trained with them and played with them, but did not make the final Women's World Cup team.
No, I did not.
How hard was that to watch the girls go and do what they did and just having just been on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely hard, but I will say I was so supportive. You know, I messaged the girls, I watched all the games, and even though I was hurting for myself, it was really exciting for them to achieve what they did and you know, go on and become world champions.
Well, you were super young at that time anyway, right? You were
23.
23. So
Kind of young.
That's pretty young. That's pretty young.
Pretty young.
So making the team, knowing that you made this year's team when you did, what type of thrill was that?
It's always an exciting moment when you're named to an important roster, you know, making an Olympic roster, a World Cup roster. And I think just any opportunity to really represent this country is an incredible feeling. So obviously to do that on the world stage, I've dreamed of it, you know.
It's got to be amazing. Crystal Dunn joins us from the U.S. Women's National Team as they get set for the Women's World Cup coming up this summer. You know, the rivalry had been the U.S. and Japan. That's what it came down to for the championship 4 years ago.
Yes.
So do you still consider Japan the number one rivals going into this Women's World Cup?
You know, I always tell people I think this game is growing, and Japan is obviously a top team every single time we play them. But I think it's not just us and them. It's not just us and Sweden anymore. It's England, France, Australia. There's so many teams now who can play this game really well, and I think that's the great thing about this sport is it's always evolving. Teams are always getting better and finding new ways to win.
The U.S. has won 3 Women's World Cups, 91, 99, and then 2015. So they're going in as defending World Cup champions. And that's the amazing thing that American men's soccer has been always trying to get to the elite level to compete for a World Cup. And we haven't gotten there with the men yet. But the women have created women's soccer in many ways. And they are the Germany or the Spain that we see on the men's side, the Italy, the Brazils that are always there. The women are that for us here in America. So there's big expectations on you guys every single time.
Yes.
And every single match, you're considered the power brokers in a lot of ways in women's soccer internationally. How much pressure is that?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I think pressure is good. You know, I think as long as we don't let it break us and we actually embrace it and just put out our best performance, I think that's where we're at right now. We obviously understand we're the defending champions and there's a lot of eyes on us, but ultimately it's really about you know, maintaining that same standards that you have and setting the bar high every time you step on the field.
So is there a little bit of now changing of the guard, some of the younger women on the team, such as yourself, taking over, maybe filling the void of some of the older, the upperclassmen, if you will, the older guard? Is there now like, hey, we want to prove ourselves because we're now the new core, the new nucleus?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of interesting on a team sport because, yeah, you have young players, you have older players, you have veterans, but ultimately, you know, you step in between those lines, you're just a player. You know, I think I've always tried to step on the field and say, you know what, I'm going to try and be the best player, not the best older player, the best younger player. I'm just a player. And I think the more we can just have that mentality going into this tournament, the better off we're going to be. You know, no one should feel like, oh, I'm young, I'm inexperienced, I don't know if I can perform. And it's like, no, you're just a player on this team, and you're gonna help us win.
Crystal Dunn joins us from the U.S. Women's National Team, soccer standout defender for the team as they head to the Women's World Cup coming up here at the end of the month. the cool thing is, being a soccer fan myself, is watching how big the Women's World Cup has become. I mean, 4 years ago, when it's in Canada, the U.S. women and winning it was an enormous international deal.
Yes.
And those stadiums are filled, and they're loud, and they're crazy.
Yes.
And the women's national team had a parade in downtown Manhattan. I could see it from down here after we got off of work, seeing everybody go down, the lower bowels, if you will, of lower Manhattan. I said, this is so cool. It must be a total thrill to know that it's not an afterthought, the Women's World Cup. It is as big as any major international soccer tournament we have on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with the World Cup being in France, it's going to be incredible. The stands supposedly are all sold out already. And, France is a huge powerhouse on the men's side and the women's side. I have a French husband, and he's obviously very happy the men won the World Cup. And they did well, obviously, in the Euros against Portugal, fell short. But it's a powerhouse on the men's side, and same with the women's side. The French national team has done some really great things over the years. So I just think being in a country where they live and breathe soccer is going to be important for the sport.
And superstars have been built out of women's soccer now. I mean, we all know the names like Mia Hamm and Julie Foudy, but also on the team this year, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe. These are legends, or legends in the making and whatnot. So it's pretty cool how the crossover has happened into mainstream American culture, and people know the names of all the players. You're not just a soccer player; you're a sports fan. You were asking me what happened in Game 1 of the Warriors.
I'm always
and
interested.
The
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're kind of in a soccer bubble, getting ready for things.
Yeah.
But growing up on Long Island, were you a big New York sports fan?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to all the Knicks games all the time, and we're not great, and it's sad.
That's an
ultimately,
understatement.
that's an understatement. But I used to go to Knicks games all the time. Then I actually watched a lot of tennis before I was watching soccer. So my parents actually go to the U.S. Open basically every year. I always watched Serena when I was younger. So sports is like big for me. It's not, and I'm not just watching only soccer. I think it's important to really enjoy sports as a whole.
Did you play other sports growing up?
I actually was that weird kid that just dedicated all my time to one sport.
That's
but
not so weird.
Did say that if I didn't play soccer, I'd play tennis. I feel like I could be a mean part of Serena Williams, But ultimately, I played just a whole bunch of soccer.
Soccer worked out well for you.
It did.
You're going to the Women's World Cup. How cool is this? It is awesome. They will leave coming up here at the end of the month, and then the Women's World Cup is going to be June 7th through July 7th. And women's national soccer team star for the U.S., Crystal Dunn, joins us. And she's here on behalf of P&G and Walgreens, sharing a few beauty secrets.
Yes.
Which we all need. You can see the gruff guys here at the studio. We could all use a little bit of help.
Everyone needs it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because...
So what help can you give us?
Well, honestly, everybody sweats, whether you're an athlete or not. And especially for me, I play in really extreme weathers. I'm currently playing in North Carolina. It gets hot there. So for me, it's important to have a good deodorant, which I use the Secret Outlast. Yay.
Okay.
And especially for body wash as well. It's good to just keep your skin really nice and smooth. So Olay is the one that I use. It's really great. And the sun just damages your skin so much. So got to treat it well.
You're a Tar Heel.
I am.
We got a lot of Tar Heels listening right now.
Yes. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, y'all.
When you were there playing soccer a couple of years ago, no national championships in basketball.
No.
And then once you left, they started winning national championships.
Yeah, I think
again.
I was clearly the weak link there. No, but I mean, we were always good. We just didn't come away with the national championship the 4 years that I was there. Bummer. But we're always a strong side.
I thought you guys were going to get to the Final Four and then play Duke in the national championship game this year. Wouldn't you love to have
That would have
Duke
been amazing.
in the national championship? Could you imagine?
Too good to be true.
Visit your local Walgreens or go to walgreens.com in the month of May to buy one Secret deodorant and get a second one half off. Plus, take advantage of 2 for $11 deal on Olay Body Wash.
It's a great deal. I think everyone should take advantage of it.
That's at Walgreens or walgreens.com. Crystal Dunn joining us from the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. I wish you the best of luck. I was so into the run 4 years ago with you guys winning the World Cup, and I always just love watching how, as you said, the sport has grown and it's such a big deal. And I love seeing members of the women's national team become superstars and cultural kind of crossover. So Man, it must be awesome playing with Carly Lloyd and Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe, and you'll be the next. So this is really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait. Let's go. USA. USA. USA starts up on June the 7th.